Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Just a couple things real quick, because I was looking at this morning. So yesterday, Trump floats this idea of delaying the election, which I think is hilarious. A lot of people talked about this for a while, joked about it. So right away, people, they're losing their minds. That he floated the idea. Okay, people are outraged, and carrying on like crazies, and I think it's funny, and I believe that, and a lot of people believe that if Trump were to come out and say, uh, we're going to postpone the election until after the coronavirus calms down, or is gone, or whatever, or we're going to postpone the election because there's so much violence going on, or whatever it is, Trump could come out and say, I'm going to postpone the election until this happens. Okay, and that would freaking happen instantaneously. You would have that him doing that would lock the brakes up on this coronavirus bullcrap so quick. It's just, it's hilarious. I find it hilarious that he just puts this idea out there, and the lefties have lost their minds. Their heads are exploding about this. So here's the tweet. With universal mail-in voting, not absentee voting, which is good, 2020 will be the most inaccurate and fraudulent election in history. It will be a great embarrassment to the USA. Delay the election until people can properly, securely, and safely vote. There's a lot of security concerns about mail-in voting. I mean, they have enough trouble with regular voting. How many times do we hear about ballots that are found weeks after the election, right, that are just hanging out in a warehouse somewhere in bins? Like, that happens in a normal election. Okay, now we've already got instances of election fraud with mail-in voting. But if you ask a Democrat, they'll tell you, no, it's a myth, or it's made up, it's not possible, blah blah blah. Well, it's happening. It's happened. People are going to jail for it. So when a Democrat tells you that, they're full of crap. It's a real thing. So I find it hilarious. It's going to evolve. I'm sure there'll be more outrage, and people will be losing their minds. So another thing, I saw the NBA. The first game back. You can see during the National Anthem, they all took a knee. You got the Black Lives Matter there on the court. They wore Black Lives Matter warm-up shirts, and joined by coaches and game officials who also knelt for the anthem. I've talked about this numerous times, and I think that is very, very disrespectful. It's really disrespectful to black people, because the people, that are involved with Black Lives Matter, they don't care about all black lives. They only care about the ones that fit their agenda. Okay, that they can gain from and push their agenda. That's it. They're very hypocritical. Okay, so, and I find it very interesting and disturbing that so many people are jumping on the Black Lives Matter bandwagon, when it's not true at all. All right, so let's go to Ferguson, Missouri. No charges brought against Darren Wilson and Michael Brown shooting. County's first black prosecutor says. All right. St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Wesley Bell announced Thursday he will not be bringing charges against former Ferguson Police Department officer Darren Wilson, who fatally shot Michael Brown, 18, back in 2014. During a Thursday press conference, Bell announced the news by prefacing it as one of the most difficult things I've had to do, noting that his heart breaks for the Browns. The question for this officer was a simple one. Could we prove beyond a reasonable doubt that when Darren Wilson shot Michael Brown, he committed murder or manslaughter under Missouri law? Bell posed. After an independent and in-depth review of the evidence, we cannot prove that he did. Goes on to say, we conducted a 5-month review of witness statements, forensic reports, and other evidence. Adding that his investigation does not exonerate Darren Wilson. Jim Toohey, Wilson's attorney, noted that had the same conclusion. Grand jury and the Department of Justice. There was no crime. So I'm sure this is going to have a lot of fallout. There's going to be a lot of protesting, a lot of carrying on. It's just, I mean, you just know for a fact that's going to happen. You know, and it'll be excused. It'll, you know, like it always is. All right, so let's go to AOC. Headline, AOC doesn't make sense that agencies that protect U.S. are part of Department of Homeland Security. Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez stated during an Instagram Live video Tuesday that it doesn't make sense that federal agencies that are charged with protecting the American homeland would be structured under the Department of Homeland Security. And by the way, ICE as an agency, as a structure, should not exist. Ocasio-Cortez says, DHS is an agency, the way it is currently organized. Someone tell me why it makes sense, why FEMA and CBP and ICE and the Coast Guard should all be part of the same agency. It doesn't make sense, and in fact, it's incredibly dangerous when it's structured that way. And so what's happening is that billions and billions of dollars have gone to ICE and CBP, and as we're talking about police uprisings in this country, I think it's really important that people understand, you know what is now the largest law enforcement organization in the United States of America? It's CBP. It's Customs and Border Patrol. It's the largest law enforcement agency in the country. And the article goes out to point out that CBP doesn't actually stand for Customs and Border Patrol. It stands for Customs and Border Protection. Border Patrol is part of Customs and Border Protection. I mean, all these agencies, that's what they do. They protect the homeland. So, yeah. Homeland Security. It's not rocket science. It's not that hard to figure out. But apparently it is for some. So, let's see here. Last article. Soros-backed St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner allegedly busted flying around the globe on a progressive organization's dime without reporting it. All right, Kim Gardner is the one that is pursuing charges against the St. Louis couple that were defending their home from protesters. The protesters were trespassing on private property. I think their last name was McCloskey. She has gone as far as evidence tampering in that case. Let's see. George Soros-backed St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner has come under fire recently for allegedly traveling across the country and the world on a criminal justice reform organization's dime without reporting it. In violation, an apparent violation of city and state law, like that's going to matter. According to an investigation of the matter by a local news station, the progressive attorney embarked on numerous trips in 2018 and 2019 that were paid for in full or in part by an organization called Fair and Just Prosecution, a group that professes to support progressive prosecutors. Yet she did not disclose the trips on travel reports. Billionaire philanthropist George Soros has also contributed to fair and just prosecution. Why doesn't that surprise me? Okay. Risen in the national spotlight, filing charges against Mark and Patricia McCloskey. Yep, well, defending their home from Black Lives Matter protesters. Is also allegedly unresponsive on trips, causing work to be backlogged. Traveling. Sources reportedly told traveling was prolific and problematic, and that she was often unreachable. Gardner previously reported trips to New York, Chicago, Seattle, Philadelphia, other places paid for by the organization in 2017. The news outlet submitted a public information request about any trips during the following 2 years. Nothing turned up, despite pictures of Gardner posted on social media showing her on several trips. When something isn't reported, the public has a right to ask, well, why wasn't it? Patrick Ishmael, who works for the St. Louis-based Show Me Institute, said elected officials have an obligation to be transparent, and that's especially true related to their duty because the public wants to know their officials are working for the interest, not someone else's. Let's see. Statement from her office. Suggestion that there's any quid pro quo involved here is patently absurd. By working with FJP, she has access to a network of prosecutors who are also implementing change in their communities across the country. Prosecutors who are working to create a fairer, more equitable justice system and move beyond the failed policies of the past that created our mass incarceration crisis. Circuit Attorney Gardner refuses to apologize for seeking reasonable opportunities to further her knowledge and access prosecutors from throughout the nation for best practice. The suggestion that she would be persuaded to follow an alternative that is not focused on addressing the root cause of crime for a few plane tickets and hotel rooms is insulting. The circuit attorney is confident that the public will see through this failed attempt to disparage her and her efforts to continue to change our criminal justice system to be more just and fair. To be more just and fair, you've blatantly tampered with evidence in the McCloskey case. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Hurts my brain sometimes. All right, so that's all I got for today. Check back. I post some things on Facebook, work on some other things. Share the videos. Educate your friends. Educate people that may not be your friends. Just, have their head buried in the sand, don't know what's going on. So that's all I got for today. Be safe and have a good day.